What happens in life is not as important as how we respond to what happens in life. And the more self-aware we are, the more likely we are to be able to respond in a mindful and compassionate way, as opposed to being reactive, triggered, and acting out in a way that is incongruent with the person that we want to be. Now, self-awareness is made up of multiple components. First of all, we need to understand our nervous system. We need to understand the way that we respond to certain stimuli as a result of past experiences. And this is particularly significant for anyone who has experienced adversity or trauma in their past, because ultimately their nervous system may have become hypervigilant and overreactive. And learning how to recognize the signals from your nervous system, learning how to identify when you are in that hypervigilant state and to regulate, to soothe your nervous system in a healthy manner is essential to reducing your reactivity and reducing your levels of distress. Similarly, we need to become emotionally intelligent. Ultimately, our emotions play a substantial role in our actions and our thinking. And we have a tendency to downplay them. We have a tendency to assume that they don't require all that much attention, but they are so significant. All of our emotions, even the negative and painful ones, are signals for us to take some sort of action. And the more we're able to compassionately and mindfully observe our emotional reactions, the more likely we are to be discerning in our response to them, and the more likely we are to be able to understand when we're having an emotional response that is based on past experience as opposed to an emotional response based on the here and now. Our emotional experiences and our stress response, which is created by the nervous system, are generally experienced in the body. And the more we are somatically aware, the more we are in tune with the body, the more likely we are to be able to identify the messages that are coming from our nervous system and that our emotions are trying to tell us, and work with them discerningly and compassionately. We need to be aware of our beliefs and the impact that our conditioning has on the way in which we interpret the world. We view the world through the filter of our past, and the more we can recognize that, the more we can understand that so much of what we view as reality is actually based on our expectations, our assumptions, and our predictions, as opposed to what's actually going on. The more we can take a step back, become a little bit more objective, and see things from alternative perspectives. And this is what is referred to as a growth mindset. Being able to understand that just because you believe something to be true doesn't necessarily mean that it is. Building this level of awareness requires discipline and consistency. It's not something that you acquire overnight, nor is it something that you are ever going to perfect. It's a lifelong undertaking. But as you become more self-aware, life becomes a little less painful because you're not always reactive. You're more responsive. You're more understanding of the way in which you interpret things, and you're able to see things a little less personally. You're able to take a step back and recognize that not everything is about you. Not everything is necessarily the way that you think it is. If you would like to create a greater sense of self-awareness, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie.